Let me hit record. Now you may start.
Thank you. I call the meeting to order, City of University Heights City Council special meeting. Today is March 7th, 2023, and the meeting is being conducted electronically. Right now, we have 4 council present. Bobby Scott will be coming on soon, I'm told. And so we're starting without him. So the first thing is I call the public hearing to order. I have a mallet here. To consider the total maximum property tax dollars for the fiscal year 23-24 budget. I don't see any public here. Have you heard from any public, Mike?
No, I have not, and no one contacted us.
Okay. With that, I close the public hearing. And then we'll go to consideration of resolution 2307. But Steve Cool will give a little background and summary and update from the state.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, this is a little bit more thorough than in past years. First step on the budget process is to approve the proposed tax levy for fiscal 24. I think what we'll do, Mike, do you have that copy of the publication that you can bring up?
Give me just a second, because I did not send it over to the other computer. Just give me a second here.
We're going to go over the form that we discussed 3 weeks ago. This was published in the Press Citizen, I believe it was February 24th. So what we're doing is we're setting the maximum request for tax dollars for fiscal 24 for the levies that are covered by this procedure. We have 5 levies. We have the general levy, and then we have 4 other smaller levies. We have transit, property and liability insurance, and then the 2 levies for payroll taxes and health insurance and other benefits for the paid city staff. So when we discussed this the last time, we were looking at a total amount to levy of $934,550. As I explained when we met the last time, we were in the process that the state legislature was actually in the process of passing legislation to correct the error that was discovered by the Department of Revenue back in November for the residential property rollback. That rollback was a little bit over 56%. The correct percentage was a little over 54%. So I'm just going to jump over to that legislation just a little bit here until we get the
I'm almost there.
I'm just going to jump over to that state legislation here just a little bit as an update. It was Senate File 181, which was signed by the governor on February 20th. The biggest change is in the residential property. Smaller changes are in the commercial values. When we met the last time, the law had not quite been passed. After it was signed, the county auditors were given 15 days from the date that it was signed to submit the corrected taxable property values or gross values and taxable values. They're due by March 9th across the state. Some counties have already submitted their information early. Johnson County was one of those. I don't know what date they submitted that. It was late last week because I did check online. All of the online budget files were basically put on hold by the Department of Management until the corrected dollars were put in. I went online Saturday to check the file and we had the new numbers. So I've got some preliminary information here also on the new values. One last thing that was in this legislation was because of the unfortunate timing of finding this error and submitting corrected taxable values, the deadline for completing the budget has been moved from March 31st till April 30th. So all of the cities and counties have been given extra time to work with this lowering of revenue to do whatever they need to do to get their budgets finalized. We are no different than anybody else. So based on that, going back to the levy form that's on your screen here, on the right-hand column, these are the 5 levies. Actually, the first line, the regular taxable valuation, that $90 million figure, $90,614,000, that was the incorrect number. The correct number is 88 million and about 60,000. So we've got a drop of about $2.5 million of taxable valuation. So what that does, the very first levy, the general levy, that one we levy at $8.10, and that's statutory maximum that can be levied across the state. That amount, $733,000 that we were hoping for, is going to be reduced. That number is, I've got that handy here. It was about 713,000. So the correction has resulted in about $21,000 less. So the regular general levy maximum that we will be requesting is about $713,000. The other 4 levies, smaller levies, these are all based on expenditures. Those levies that we have do not have statutory maximums on them. So what we can do is we can levy for those specific dollar amounts, 46,000 to 10,000, and then the 82,000 and the 61,000. We can levy for those. So we won't be reducing those 4 levies at all. Even though the levy rate may increase slightly, I had a few conversations with Ted Nelson at the Department of Management, and he said the levy rate is not what's being set. It's the tax dollars being requested. So he said in the case of these 4 smaller levies, he said, we just request what we need. So we're requesting property taxes exactly to cover transit costs for the year, property and liability insurance, and then all of the payroll taxes and benefits. So we do not have to decrease those. Just that top number, 733,000, is going to go down by about 21,000. So that is what is for approval tonight. There are two other levies that the city has. We have the 27-cent library levy. 27 cents is the statutory maximum. That's a real small one. That's about 21,000. There'll be just a couple $100 less on that one. The other levy that we have is the debt service. That is based on actual needs. So we will be able to levy for the full debt service also. It's a combination of, you have to watch what the maximum levy is because we can't go over the maximum amount. So we're fortunate that these smaller levies, we don't have to cut back. So anyway, that's about where things stand on that. The other thing I wanted to go over quickly here is, where do we go from here after this? Normally in the past, after we've had the approval of the levy, immediately after that, I always gave a very thorough discussion of the budget on just our worksheet. Because of the holdup in the property tax, that's kind of held that back. So overall, the budget is probably about 90 to 93% complete. We have about 5% left that's kind of contingent on what we're able to levy for. We may be adjusting a few smaller expenses and so forth to try to work everything in. So because we're not going to have a thorough discussion on the full budget tonight, the last time at our last meeting, we discussed this. March 28th was the scheduled date for the actual public hearing and approval of the budget. Well, we're not going to be able to do that. We're just going to have discussion then on March 28th as scheduled. And then in April, we will need to schedule a meeting, a short meeting for the public hearing on the full budget and then the approval of the budget. Because we'll have the full worksheet discussion on March 28th. We would have to have the public hearing on the budget and the approval of the budget either on April 18th or April 25th. We do not have to decide that tonight. I did talk to Louise a little bit about this last week, and at next week's regular council meeting, we will not be having any discussion on the budget, but by next Tuesday, we need to make a decision on what day we want to have the public hearing for the budget and then the approval, either April 18th or April 25th.
They're both Tuesdays, so I don't know. I mean, do people know their schedule now? Or do you want to wait? We can wait till Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I know you prefer to do, Steve. So we got to come up with that. And that'll be a 15-20 minute meeting, depending on if there's people for the hearing. That'll be a short meeting on the 18th or the 25th. The 28th, March 28th now will be probably around an hour and a half, maybe. We have to do full budget discussion, maybe an hour, maybe, just so you know, for your schedules.
Yeah, I'd like to try to limit the full discussion to maybe 45 minutes tops if possible. A lot of our costs don't change a lot from year to year, but we have few new things come up each year. Some amounts change, more than normal. And so those are going to be the things I'll talk about. So I would say probably 45 minutes at best.
I like that. And so do you have anything else, Steve, you wanted to go over? So do people understand the schedule a little bit? We just had to push, we could have the public hearing tonight. And then we won't have any budget discussion on the 14th, gives more time to prepare for everyone and put in all the numbers, the budget numbers, but Steve says he has about 90 to 93% completed, so that's good. And so we'll talk about the streets projects, then we'll talk about any extra things we want to add, or we'll see how the numbers shake out, and you'll get that ahead of time too. Any questions for Steve? Steve has really good connections with people, like having this finance person from the state, you know, the head guy, that's really key. And he knows people in the cities within our Johnson County that we're very fortunate to have Steve Cool reviewing all this for us, because this is a little complicated this year. But anything else, Steve, you wanted to add?
No, I believe I've pretty much covered everything here. Just one other final item. I did, at the last meeting, I did kind of touch on the overall cumulative tax levy rate. You know, I mentioned that it probably isn't going to adjust any more than maybe a penny or two. I just ran some rough numbers, not in the actual online program, but we're looking at maybe 3.5 to 4 cent increase in the tax levy. So this cutback here isn't going to dramatically change the levy rate. So we're fortunate to try to keep the levy rate close from year to year. So I think that was all I had.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, Steve sent the resolution number 2307. And this is approving the total maximum property dollars for the fiscal year 24 budget. I don't think Bobby's here yet. Oh, he's here. Great, Bobby's here. I just wanted to see if he came in. Is there a motion? Motion by Lisa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Stephanie. Discussion. Okay, roll call vote.
Don,
Aye.
Moore? Lisa?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Schroeder,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Swales,
Aye.
motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Any announcements? Is there any objection to adjournment? Hearing none, the meeting will be adjourned by unanimous consent. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, staff, for all coming. Go